Now yes, does it feel like I've done thousands of videos on burgers by now? It does. But before you guys start a mutiny in the comments because I'm making another one, let me explain myself. My love for this cheap and affordable food has only grown stronger, especially through the era of the beer virus. In large part, that was due to one man named George Motz, who, if you're unfamiliar, is essentially like the burger Socrates. He's got books and TV shows and movies and now YouTube shows about his love for burgers, their history, the regionality of all the different variations. This man eats, sleeps, and breathes burgers. Literally. I mean, look at all that vaporized beef grease in his house. And when I first saw that he was opening his very own restaurant in New York, I knew I was gonna have to make my way there one day, and today is that day. His menu is as simple as they come. There's no frills here, it's just good old classic smash burgers. This one being the Oklahoma fried onion burger, which has kind of become his staple. I've watched him make this countless times on the internet, and I can't believe I'm finally getting to taste it. All I can say is, this is what I want every single smash burger to be for the rest of my life. It is crispy and salty and rich. At first it seems like way too many onions when they're throwing them all on the grill, but as they cook down and kind of melt into the beef itself, it becomes the perfect ratio. I'd eat one of these every single day for the rest of my life and be extremely happy. And now that we've got an amazing baseline to judge all of today's burgers against, we're gonna take a trip down George's regional burgers that he's shown throughout the years on YouTube in a quest to find out which burger, and more specifically which region, boasts the best one and comes out on top today. I am very excited, so let's get right into it. You may be thinking, how many different ways could you possibly construct and consume a smash burger? And you'd be surprised. From ingredients to technique and construction, these are gonna get pretty wild, but I wanted to start somewhere as simple as they come in Wisconsin with the butter burger. And it is exactly how it sounds. So I grabbed some salt and ground beef, a plain white hamburger bun, and lots of butter. This one's gonna be the simplest of the day by far. I think that goes without saying. There is no condiments, no cheese, no toppings whatsoever. It is a simple ball of beef that you smash down with my newly patented potato masher method. That seems to work pretty well. It gets a little bit of salt. It's put on a toasted bun with 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter. It's a good thing my health physical isn't for another couple months. Gives me some time to recover, although I'm sure we'll do plenty more videos of this nature, so who am I kidding? If I even make it that far, because as much as I love bread and butter, the amount of butter that is smeared on this bun is a little off-putting, but I tried to match the video the best I could, and it is time to continue today's burger feast. Definitely overshot the bun to patty ratio, but that's alright. To nobody's surprise, this tastes absolutely incredible. It's everything your body craves. It's salty and fatty and rich. It's so texturally pleasing between that soft, pillowy bun, the crispy outside. I will say, could be a problem, meaning, you know how they kind of tell you to max out your hot dog consumption at 1 per year? This thing might be like 1 per lifetime. And I think I even undershot the amount of butter he would put on that thing. By the end, he was like dipping the burger in the pool of melted butter. I'm not experiencing that, but it's damn good, obviously. It's good practice for the technique. Give it a go if you don't have any pre-existing health conditions. Now, if you thought that one was odd, brace yourself, because now it's time to go somewhere we really have never gone before. Because for the second stop in today's burger journey, we are heading over to Ohio, to a restaurant called Swenson's to make their Galley Boy Burger. And for this one, I grabbed some barbecue sauce and pimento stuffed olives, tartar sauce, hamburger buns, ground beef, salt and pepper, brown sugar, and then another slice of cheese that I forgot to include. This one perfectly exemplifies why I fell in love with George's YouTube videos. They were like a drug to me throughout the entirety of the pandemic. Because who has ever heard of this? Like, unless you live around that area in Ohio, I don't think anybody would have ever thought to mix ground beef with a whole bunch of brown sugar, hand smash those patties out to get them nice and thin, cooked off on a blazing hot cast iron skillet, and then load it up with American cheese, barbecue sauce, tartar sauce, an olive on top. I would have guessed that this originally came out of somewhere like Portland, for example. Certainly not something out of central Ohio. I will say it smells really good. A little bit of that barbecue sauce got a little toasty and caramelized. I was getting a few whiffs of that molassesy brown sugar. It seems nice and juicy and at least visually appealing, so let's give this one a taste. I'm loving this cute little garnish. I mean, that I can get on board with. As far as the rest of this, we shall see. What a bizarre food. I don't hate it. There are aspects of it I do enjoy. I just repeatedly have the word why popping into my head. Why are we putting sugar in the meat when we're smothering it in barbecue sauce, which is very sweet already? The darkening around the edges is definitely more of like the sugar burning, and you can kind of taste that a bit. So I don't know why it's there. Also the tartar sauce, very weird. When you get a big tasting of it, you're expecting it to be like a fish sandwich or some kind of seafood. You know what this reminds me of actually? If you've ever had a McDonald's McRib, or any of those like pre-formed, very fake rib patties, where it's very sweet. It kind of has that extra bite because of the working of the meat. Kind of emulsified it a bit into something a little more chewy. So again, I don't hate it. I don't love it either. I would recommend basically any other smash burger I've ever eaten over this one, but a fascinating test nonetheless. Now, if you thought that the Butter Burger was playing Russian roulette with your organ health, you just wait. Because next, we are traveling over to Tennessee and trying their deep-fried double cheeseburger. I grabbed some pickles and mustard, American cheese and more beef, a potato roll, and an onion. I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago now when I found out one of my doctors watched these videos. And it is times like this where I pray he no longer does. Because for this one, I very thinly sliced some raw onion. I hand smashed some more patties, this time even thinner, because the way we're cooking these, we want them to be finished in 30 seconds or less. And although in the video there is no mention made of any kind of salt and pepper or seasoning, I don't care. I feel like I need it, just like every good burger does, so I added a little cheeky sprinkle and into the oil they went. I was a bit concerned for a minute there. It seemed like it was gonna stick to the bottom, but if you just let it do its thing, in a couple seconds it floats to the top. And to crown these babies off, you pull them out of the oil, slap a piece of cheese on there, and submerge it back in to fully melt it. I feel like I could so clearly picture so many of your horrified faces out there, just like I did the very first time I saw this burger, but if you think about it, most of the time burgers are served with some kind of deep fried side, fries, onion rings, whatever. So why not deep fry the whole goddamn meal and really pound your arteries into submission? There's not a whole lot out there more beautiful than a double cheeseburger on a potato roll, but that's just me. Look at the juice that is just pouring off of this damn thing. Oh my god. A little heartburn there. Ow. This is freaking delicious. It is everything that I want in a burger. It is so crispy and juicy, presumably because of the deep frying. The raw onions are a very smart choice in here too, because of how much more fatty richness is going on, even more so than the standard burger. And this is really calling into question how much I love burgers like Weissman's. His are so over the top with so many fantastical ingredients. Black garlic, caramelized onion, aioli comes to mind. But simple stuff like this is just as good. I'm gonna finish this. And now it's full circle time because we're gonna be finishing this one the same way we started by trying to recreate George's Oklahoma fried onion burger. I grabbed some more beef and an onion, some more cheese, a potato roll, and salt and pepper. All of our training today and all of our research has led us to this very moment. Not necessarily to use the mandolin again, because I'm still deathly afraid of this thing, but it's the only way I can think of to achieve those extremely thin slices like they had in the restaurant, that you could see right through. And I didn't realize this until I'm making my first one on camera here, but This is kind of a genius procedure. These onions are not only adding texture and obviously plenty of good flavor, but they actually act as a little barrier between your smasher. They basically ensure that your spatula doesn't get stuck to the top of the beef. And also, once you flip it over, you actually layer on your buns so they can kind of just steam in all that evaporating onion juice. It's the same exact technique as White Castle uses, I'm pretty sure as well. So I don't believe George has ever mentioned the person or restaurant that invented this, but whoever did, kudos to you. I cannot possibly be any more stuffed to the gills with hamburgers today, but I don't care. This thing is as appetizing as ever. I will never be tired of these things. God damn. Before I eat this entire thing, again, let's review. I don't know if I could think of another food that is greater than the sum of its parts. I think that phrase was invented for this in my hand. It is beef cheese, onion, salt, and bread, and it is so good. The magic is definitely the onions though, because they give you so many different textures, flavors. Some are jammy and caramelized, some are really crispy and slightly bitter, and some are even still a little raw and have the tiniest bit of bite right in the middle there. They add sweetness, they add brightness, paired with a crispy patty and salt and cheese. I would put this right up there with the one I had from the restaurant, and George says it all the time. It's kind of the beauty of these burgers. Anybody can make them. You don't have to spend $12 on one. Just find yourself either a cast iron or a stainless steel pan. No non-stick for this. Don't be afraid to crank that heat up. Really smash it nice and thin. And what you end up with is a piece of magic. There's no other way for me to put it.
With the M without the AD. Flipping burgers and my money super lazy. Try and make a meal tonight, they ain't paying me. Try and supersize my life with my 18. Yeah, our style wasn't wavy, but we had a vision. We could make